Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this Salon Secrets session with good morning to the lovely Mark Hayes.
Hello, morning,
How are you
Jane.
doing?
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good. Hang on, let's just talk over each other to start this, shall we?
It's the excitement. It's the
Hang on a minute.
excitement.
Let's just get in a sort of rhythm. Wait a minute. How are you, Jane?
I'm good, thanks, Mark. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Jane.
Good. We got into a good rhythm of doing this during lockdown, but now the world's opened up again. We haven't done a live together, have we, for a while?
I know. It seems like forever we haven't done this. I know they were funny. I like those. Apart from the fact that my battery was running out on my phone.
Yeah, that was a favourite. It was your daughter sneaking under the table to put the charger in your phone, but we could see her doing it.
I know. Bless her.
I know, bless her. And I have to say, your at-home backgrounds I really like, because I like looking at your books and snooping around your house. I think we all quite like doing that in lockdown, having a nose around other people's homes.
Yeah, that to be honest, that was kind of interesting, wasn't it? I always feel a bit cheated when people put a fake background on, Jane.
I'm in the office, so I'm in Wimbledon Village, and you're very welcome to have a look around if you like, but the team might not thank me for that if they're suddenly all live on HJ.
I know that, but the thing is, at first though, I mean, being Mr. Gullible that I am, I didn't realise that you could do that. So I'm looking at someone talking to him, and I'm thinking, blimey, their house is quite nice, isn't it? You know, it's like
not a house.
Huge, big, like white space. And
yeah.
I was like, wow, and then someone was, I forget who it was now. Someone was talking to me, and they sort of moved, and you caught a little glimpse of a clothes rail thing.
No, behind them.
But they were sat in their bedroom, and the best one ever, and I'll tell you, but I won't tell you who it was. The best one ever was when someone was interviewing me, and there was obviously quite a large time difference, and they were sat on the end of their bed.
Oh, I kind of like that though.
Well, I was thinking, hang on a minute, they've just literally kind of like got up.
Yeah. Good morning. do you think I haven't done that this morning? I clearly haven't. I am in the office. I am in Wimbledon, and I spoke to you very early this morning just to make sure everything was all right for today. So we want to talk about Salon International coming up quick now, 16th, 17th, and 18th of October. I know, and good to be back, eh? I mean, we've missed a year, I think. So how many years would you have done Salon prior to the pandemic and us having to miss it?
I was just going to say that. I think, I mean, because I'll tell you for what, I became a teacher in 1980, I think, 81. And the first show, Christopher Brooker was the creative director then. And I remember being at a model call in our academy in Davis Mews. Most of the people on the call will remember Davis Mews, our first academy. Anyway, he came up to me and said, would you like to work on stage? And I'm like, absolutely, yeah. So I did a show there at the academy. And then the very next show I did was at Wembley, when it was at Wembley, at Salon International. And I was so nervous that Andrew Jose, who was comparing, because he was the manager at the academy then, had to hold the microphone for me. So the thing is, because I couldn't hold the microphone because I was too nervous, so I'm cutting away. But obviously, as I'm looking up, which I didn't really do, I'm kind of, and they go. So I must have sounded ridiculous. But yeah, so probably something like 1982.
Oh, you were like before me then. So yeah, mine's a long time, but not quite that long. So
yeah, 82. Well, I was only 12 at the time.
Yeah, we've established this. You started hairdressing when you were 3, didn't we? So
exactly. I used to shampoo like that, reaching up to the back was.
Sassoons are there for the whole 3 days because you're exhibiting. Yeah. So we'll talk about the stand and the activity on the stand. But let's talk about the seminars, because we've changed things up a bit this year. In light of the fact we're still in a pandemic. It's been a pandemic. You know, we need to change things a little bit. So what we're doing with our Salon Seminars is very much more up close and personal education, isn't it? With a much smaller, tight audience of, say, circa 350 people, which has meant you've kind of had to rethink. So you're 2:00 on Sunday, the 17th of October. So tell me a little bit about what people can expect from the seminar. If you say I don't know yet, I'll just laugh.
No. And it's 90 minutes, isn't it?
Oh, okay. For anybody listening, so Amanda Murray, if you're watching this, so we used to do live shows that were 75 minutes long. For some reason, Mark thought they were 90 minutes and could never understand why every year we were like, but you overran. He was like, I wasn't, I was bang on.
Yeah.
Clear communication issue.
In my defense, I used to send you a running order every year with the duration of the show at 90 minutes, and no one ever questioned it. So I just,
they didn't.
And then one year, Amanda said, I said, right, so it's 90 minutes again. And she went, no, it's 75 minutes. It's always been 75 minutes. I was like, has it? I mean, literally, has it?
Yeah.
Yes, for the last 10 years, it's been like 75 minutes. So yeah, so
this year, 90 minutes. So real value for money. Yeah.
You can almost guarantee we'll do 75 and come off 15 minutes early. No, no, I suppose, I mean, in all seriousness, I suppose in a way, I mean, yes, it's great doing the big show, you know, that we've done in the past. It's been, you know, it has been great doing that sort of spectacle, if you like.
Yeah.
And I love that sort of thing because, you know, you've got the lighting, the models, the outfits and all that sort of stuff. And then, you know, the music, soundtrack. So it's a beautiful visual spectacle. However, I think most of the audience love that, but they love watching the Sassoon team work with hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but I do think, you know, that geometric method that we have in both cutting and in coloring is so kind of compelling to see.
Yeah.
And in a big space, unfortunately, no matter how good the AV systems are and everything, you kind of lose it a little bit because you can't watch all the people at once. You can only really see what's on the monitor up close. Whereas this format will allow us to, what we've done is we've made each cutting section and coloring, the technical sections, we've made them longer.
Yeah.
So that the team can get on stage and express themselves more fully, as opposed to, you know, kind of 15 minutes and they're on and they're off. The sections are longer. So it'll be more an in-depth look at what the team are doing. I've got a meeting with the team actually today that are working on the seminar, and we've cut the team down. So it's less people on stage. And the reason for that is so that people can focus on things more fully, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
So
I do.
A smaller team on stage, more of an explanation. We're gonna try and make, I mean, I think what I was gonna say is we're gonna try and make the work more, I don't want to say salon friendly.
Is it more commercial?
Well, I mean, in a way, but what is commerciality? I mean, to me, I hate the thought that salon work is somehow perceived as a watered down version of creative stuff. Because, you know, as I've always said, creativity to me is about working with an individual. So what we'll be doing is we'll be working with the individuals who we work with. We're going to try and show a cross section of hair, textures and colors and that sort of stuff. So that's the big thing. But in terms of technique, you know, obviously the team we've got working on stage, there's you know, Sylvia Salerno, who's just, you know, has got these most magical little hands that make hair. She kind of passes her hands over the hair, and all of a sudden it's done something incredible.
It's
and
like fairy dust. Yeah.
Yeah. How did she do that? And then,
I don't have those hands.
Well, you've got hands like that in a different way. And then we've got Daniel McCall, who I think has such a great hook on cutting hair in a way that just, I always say that he's got like this kind of immediate sort of style. He just kind of gets a look, if you know what I mean. That's his whole thing is based, Sylvia's kind of more based around a concept, and Daniel is more based around a look in a way.
Yeah.
And then we've got Danielle Harvey, who is the senior creative director in the Academy. And she has this kind of incredible energy and enthusiasm, and, you know, the audience love her. And then there's me.
And then there's you. Yeah. And what are you going to be doing?
What am I going to be? Well, I'm doing a little solo spot, Billy No Mates, as usual. And I'm just going to, you know, I love the idea, you know, listen, I've been doing hair for 44 years now. So my thing about hair now is my sort of trademark style, if you like, is an understated elegance, but that's just me. And you know, I'll just do something. I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but I'm just going to do something really cool with hair that I think will be useful to people. You know, it'll have a kind of little techniques in there that I'll try and explain in the best way I can to help people understand how we approach how we approach what we do. And then coloring, same thing. You know, we have Edward Darley, who obviously our UK color director, the fans' favorite. And then we've got Carla Salceda, who's a color director in the Academy, and Caroline Spencer, also senior color director. So, and they will be showing the same with color. You know, it's very much geometric technique, but we'll try and show probably something with foil. You can tell I'm not a colorist.
Yep. Something with foil. Yeah.
And something without.
Yeah. So freehand and more structured. Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. You know, so it'll be Sassoon technique, but done in a way that hopefully will be valuable to our audience. That's the kind of vibe we're going to go for. Yeah, and I think to be honest, the way we work with hair lends itself to this format. You know, because we're not big flamboyant kind of, you know, slicing and chopping and all that. We kind of we're very much, you know, we're very much about method.
It's precision, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but I don't want, you know, I always sort of say that our method is precise, absolutely, yes. Because then it's easy to replicate for the client, and it's easy to replicate for the stylist or colorist when the person comes in the next time. So it is precise, but the end result can be anything.
Whatever.
The look can be, you know, we've got such a, it can work with any texture essentially. So it's the ideas that you take.
So for people watching, almost regardless of their experience level, they'll come and take stuff out of it in that 90-minute session, won't they? Because I think you and I have spoken about this. I think sometimes people are scared is the wrong word. Intimidated is also the wrong word, but there's that kind of fear factor that I can't do it because it's Sassoon, where actually this is very much about teaching people at whatever their skill level, giving them some tips and techniques and ideas that they can take back and use in their daily working life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, obviously, yes, at different levels, you will take different things away. You know, when I talk about hair, I tend to talk about it yes, I talk about what I'm doing, and there's that, but also about things that I think are important, you know, like communication, how to get the best out of a communication with a client, which I've now come to realize 44 years later that it's actually quite important. No, you know, and there are very specific, like everything, there are very specific techniques to get the best out of that situation that I think people struggle with. You know, I think when you're trained how to cut or color or both, but you're not really trained how to communicate.
No,
as much anyway. You know, and how to be a good listener.
Consultation is all important, isn't it?
Oh, it's everything. In a sense, it's everything. Because without that, you know, normally if there is an issue at the end of whatever the service is, you can generally, in my experience, trace it back to that consultation.
Yeah.
You know, that's normally where the issue, you know, someone's expectations weren't met, or the you know, what the perception of it was going to be isn't what, you know, there's just a
there's almost a mismatch. Yeah, there's a mismatch of what they expected and what you've delivered. So you've talked about your meeting with the team. How do you guys prep for this? Because I know people watching will be interested in this. How do you kind of prepare and plan for this kind of seminar?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I think, to be honest, we never stop preparing in a way, because we're always doing stuff. You know, we're obviously, we've got online that maybe we'll talk about in a bit.
Yep.
We've got the online program that we're doing now. We've got our collections that we release 2, 3, probably 4 times a year now. So and that's what makes my job so lovely, is that I get to work with all these incredible people doing this stuff all the time. So really, we are continually in a state of doing stuff, finishing it, and then stepping back and thinking, you know, how was that? What could we, you know, and then maybe, and we'll always say, right, so next time what we could do is X. So it's a continual process, process of development and, you know, brainstorming and coming up with new things. But really, it's like anything else. We kind of sit down and think, okay, at the end of the day, what do we want our audience to take away? What do we want our audience to gain from what we're going to be doing? And each person with their own individual personality will bring that to the situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah.
So it's a lovely, what's the word? It's a lovely
it's kind of a blend, isn't it? Of everybody.
Yeah, it's a lovely illustration of where Sassoon is right now. You know, with the individuals being quite different in their own personalities, but all being joined by a similar love of the aesthetics that Sassoon has. In terms of being intimidated or scared off or thinking that you're not going to get stuff, I mean,
you're clearly terrifying, right?
Oh yeah, I'm really scary, mate. Really scary. No, I get it, because our work looks so difficult, and it kind of is in a way, but it's not unachievable, and it is actually it's simple in terms of its
theory. Right. Yeah, no, I understand.
But you just have to practice, like anything else. You have to practice at it. But once you've got it, once you've mastered it as much as anyone can, and once you've mastered it, it paves the way for so many things. It's such a segue into, and I always say, when you walk down any street in any city in the world, you will see people wearing their hair that you can trace back to the original Sassoon techniques and the Sassoon look. So it's so super valuable. To be honest, in some ways, I think the Sassoon method is more relevant today than it ever has been, in a way, because who's got more time now than they had 5, 10, 15 years ago? Nobody. Everyone's time poor, aren't they? Everyone's got less time. Yeah. Clients don't come into the salon saying, I want something really complicated, something that takes me ages to do in the morning. No, you know what I mean? And that's basically what Sassoon technique is grounded in.
Yeah, it's that whole women. The how women want to wear their hair. Yeah, absolutely, but in a very stylish.
Yeah, so it means that you can create whatever look, and you've seen all the collections that we do. The modern Sassoon hair looks very unstructured, very loose, very free, kind of, if you want to say commercial, I suppose in a way it kind of is. But
it's more undone, isn't it, than the Sassoon of old?
Yeah, because that's what's appropriate. What was appropriate for Vidal and the team in the 60s isn't now, but the underlying approach is the same. It's about really beautifully cut and finished hair, and beautifully colored and finished hair. It's those two things, but the finished look is very effortless and very easy. So, and that's the way, that's the way people want to look today. They don't want to look as though they've spent ages, most people anyway, that don't want to, they want to look, like your hair. Your hair's kind of loose and natural. We're not going to mention blow dry. We're loose and unstructured, natural.
You've already mentioned it. You are the only person that rings me on FaceTime to critique my blow dry every time you phone me. I don't want to answer this video call because he's going to say, so what happened with you this morning?
No,
that's pretty much like that. No, but you have that look on your face. You just got to go, okay, we know exactly what you're thinking.
I know. It's 44 years of blow drying hair and doing it. You can't help it. You sit on the tube. I'm doing this morning. I'm sat on the tube and I'm just looking at this person's hair, thinking, Jesus. No, I didn't think that.
Really? No, you did think that because that was your first response. So you did think that. I think also the seminar will give people the opportunity to genuinely get up close and personal with you guys and understand more about the heritage, but where Sassoon Academy is now, as you say. And I think that's really important. And you touched on it there, because a big change for you guys during the pandemic and in the lockdown was the launch of Sassoon Online.
Yeah. Well, that was important for us, because obviously when the lockdown happened back in March, we were in the middle of teaching, and we were actually in the middle of a shoot. It happened that we had to just stop, and we had people doing our beginners diploma course who were kind of stranded, both here and in Los Angeles. So it was actually Tracy who said, we should put together a course that supplements their in-person learning, because we can't do it. So we developed a 6-week training program that really helped the students, because we kind of thought 6 weeks was all it was going to be.
Well, I think we all thought 6 weeks would be the max, didn't we? It was like, it won't be longer than 6 weeks.
No, exactly. So we started that, and we put this program together that covered, it was actually quite beautiful, the program in and of itself, let alone as a supplement to our diploma course. And then we've just kind of continued. We've continued trying to bring the academy to a wider audience. We tried to sort of as much as you possibly can online, is recreate the energy and the personalities in the academy online at Sassoon Online. So we have a demonstration pretty much every week.
Right.
And we also are releasing some of our heritage stuff, which is lovely, you know, because we've got people like Christopher and Tim and Annie, you know, obviously all those people, Annie Humphries and Tim Hartley, doing the work back in the 80s and 90s. I've got all the alternative hair shows from Tony Rizzo that I'm going to launch at some point.
Brilliant.
And we've got the contemporary classics, you know, contemporary classics, cutting head the Sassoon way. So it's kind of a mix between now stuff, you know, stuff that we're doing right now, and stuff that maybe some people will never have seen, you know, obviously. And I think that's what's lovely about Sassoon, in the sense that we do have this incredible heritage. You know, we've obviously 67 years now, we've got that legacy that I think it's so important to share. In much the same way that fashion brands do. You know, when you read about Yves Saint Laurent and Balenciaga and these incredible brands that are all reinventing themselves, but they all use their heritage as a kind of vehicle to do that. You know, and why wouldn't
kind of the basis for everything, isn't it? Because it was the best, and it still is. So why would you not continue to use it?
And in the same way that go on, sorry, carry on.
No, you go.
I was going to say, in the same way that Yves Saint Laurent will always have Le Smoking in their show, you know, the men's tuxedo for women, we will always have the bob, you know, as part of the look. As part of
it's a nod to the history, isn't it?
Yeah, and also I think, you know, it's still probably, whether it's the lob, the pob, the whatever,
it's still the most popular.
It's still the most popular haircut going. You know, so I think it's important to kind of have a version of that with the new technique, a new cut, a new color, whatever, as our signature look, which is lovely to have. You know, it's lovely to have a signature Sassoon look. So we'll be celebrating that. But it is also very,
It's also great to, and I've met up with you recently in person, to see students back in the academy. So now we're allowed to be back face to face. You have got students back and training. And I think the seminar will give people that chance that actually, I think, listen, virtual saved all of us, didn't it? During the pandemic, it allowed people to connect and feel in, but there's a pent up desire now to see people face to face and meet people face to face. Yeah, there is.
I mean, and that's the thing about Salon International, apart from everything else that we've been talking about, it's just so cool to meet up with, you know, to meet everyone from all the different companies and see, you know, obviously some people you only actually see at Salon International.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? But once a year, you kind of see each other and you kind of chat and la la la. And, you know, the hairdressing industry, it's a people's industry, isn't it? You know what I mean? We didn't go into it to work on our own and work in isolation. You went into it because you enjoyed working as a team, working with people. And Vidal always put it so well. You know, he used to say, you respect the craft, you respect education, and you respect the client, those three things. And as always, he put it so beautifully. So that's part of it. Absolutely. The social event of Salon International is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, it will be. Well,
and I think somebody once described it to me, and I thought this was just lovely, as a melting pot of creativity, because there is everything there, from literally everything there that you can need. And I think the seminars and the education is a really key part of that. But you're also going to be there on the stand, aren't you? So
yes, kind of G124.
There you go. I'm impressed you remembered.
I was going to say, I knew you'd be impressed with it. Wow, it's kind of embellished on my. I hope it's right.
Yeah, I'll laugh if it's not. But you're going to be doing some demos on the stand as well, aren't you?
Yeah, we are making a collection book, which is going to be beautiful. That's going to chart the last three collections, because the last three collections, or the last 3 years that we released, were all based on the Sassoon legacy. So there's a lot of stuff in there that'll be nice. So that we're going to do that. And we're also going to be demonstrating, on the stand as well. We've got a completely newly designed space that's going to provide a vehicle for us to be even more up close. You'll be sick of us by the end of Salon International.
No, we won't. We definitely won't. And the audience and the visitors definitely won't. I think it's fantastic that they're going to be able to get that opportunity throughout Saturday, Sunday and Monday to see you guys there and working and actually be able to come and talk to you.
Oh, absolutely. And we've also got an educational team there as well, who are going to be, you know, if anyone wants to ask about, you know, how they join Sassoon educationally, we're going to have a team there to do that. So it's kind of bringing the Sassoon world to Salon International and dropping it down on G124.
Love that, for 3 days. Now, I saw something on Facebook that surprised me somewhat, because I know you quite well. But you can win Mark Hayes. So expand on that a little bit.
Well,
I think people need to read the T's and C's on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Just win Mark Hayes.
I think what it is, it's a demonstration. I think it's for
students.
Is it for colleges?
Yeah,
it's for college,
it is.
Isn't it?
So it's aimed at the colleges.
Yeah, I think, you know, for us, especially during lockdown, we absolutely identified that colleges and schools, etc., need support, you know, from the industry.
Absolutely.
Because essentially they are, you know, they're the next all of us, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think we need to support them. And our online programs, Sassoon Connect and Connect Plus, are specifically designed around educating young hairdressers who may be at college. They also may be in a salon, you know, and the salon may not be able to train them. So I'm offering, I think it's a day with me.
Yeah.
At your college. So we do it online, and wherever in the UK, you've been a day with me. Sort of, I would imagine, we haven't finalised exactly what the day would entail, because I want to tailor it to whoever wins it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it would be, you know, I might talk through my career, you know, because in there I talk about things that I think have helped me become successful. You know, if I have achieved any success in the industry, how I did that, how I've done. Well, you know, I don't like to be presumptuous.
No, but you definitely have. But it's
and then I do like maybe do a demonstration, and then do a little hands-on session with the students. Brilliant. So they can see how I do what I do, maybe do something classic or, you know, whatever technique wise, and just have a sort of day with me. Really.
So the students need to go to Hairdressers Journal's Facebook page and get entering that competition when they get their seminar tickets, I think. So, which will be much fun. I have an off-piste question for you now, but I'm just interested in your view. So there's been a lot of change post-pandemic about the way people are working. More people are changing their lifestyle to work the hours that suit them. I think it's had a positive impact for many people on actually getting priorities and, you know, work-life balance, etc. There is the continuing conversation, though, that we need as an industry to appeal to young people to come into hairdressing and see it for the fantastic career that everybody in it knows it is. But how do we spread that message? You're recruiting people for your salons, you're recruiting people for the academy courses. Have you seen a shift post pandemic? I mean, I know when we spoke, you were saying you've had people looking for a career change and actually enrolling in the long course to start to finish, you know, literally changing career.
Absolutely. It's kind of interesting. You know, we've seen, lots of people. In fact, British Airways people.
Specifically, okay.
We've had a few people from there come to do hair. I mean, I think what people know, I think people want flexibility. That's the biggest thing. You know, and I think that's not a secret in the industry, that people, you know, I don't subscribe to the view that, oh, you know, people aren't prepared to work hard anymore. They're not prepared to put the effort in. They just want everything, you know, on a plate. Young people I'm talking about. Yeah. I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that. I've got two children who are, you know, in their mid to early 20s, and they are prepared to work hard. Yeah. But their mindset is different. Of course it is. They've grown up in a world with the internet, with mobile phone, you know.
Everything's instant.
Exactly. My daughter Lucy, she doesn't know of a world before the internet. No. She was born in '97, and the you know, so their values and their perception of the world is immediate, fast, changing, and they're kind of cool with that. It freaks stuff out. You know? But so in a sense, you just have to embrace the way they see the world. It doesn't mean that they're any less hardworking or or they don't have the same values of a work ethic that we did or we do. It's just that their world's different.
Yeah.
You know, the way they see the world is different, and they want rewards, and they want the same as we had, you know, absolutely. But our world moved slower, even then, even, you know, 20, 30 years ago, it moved slower, you know. So I think flexibility is absolutely the key to understanding how they look at things. Flexibility and, you know, as you said, allowing them this work-life balance. You know, the whole thing about renting chairs and salon suites and all that sort of stuff is a big part of the industry now. And why not? You know, why not? Absolutely do that. You know, as long as you're still involved in the industry and want to do things with a great standard and you know, and train yourself. But you know, as long as it's done well, does it really matter what it is? You know, as long as it's done professionally and it's, you know, and supports the industry as a whole, I think it's cool. And you have to be, you know, open. And yeah, there are more people coming into the industry, certainly for the academy, from other professions. So in a way, you have to sort of think, well, actually, they've come from, you know, when you get on an aeroplane, and their level of professionalism is so high, obviously, that we've got to match that expectation as well. So it can only be good that they bring their expertise into the industry as well. You know,
it's good. That's good. It's good to hear.
I mean, the thing is, we've had everyone from Bob Marley's niece came to the academy. She was very good at graduation. Bob Marley's niece. We've had ex-footballers. We've had a very, very, very famous actor's daughter do a course with us. So, you know, everybody at some,
coming from all different backgrounds and walks of life. It really doesn't matter, does it? It's just coming to learn and having an open mind to learning.
You know what it is? It's attitude.
Yeah, you're right.
At the end of the day, your achievement will be governed by your attitude.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a good attitude, you can pretty much, I think, accomplish anything. Yeah. If you've got a poor attitude or a negative attitude, you're going to struggle, because
it's not going to work, is it?
Not really.
No.
And you see it play itself out. You know, you see it play itself out. Someone who's got, like, you know, maybe they've got ability, but they've got the wrong attitude. They never fulfill their potential. Whereas
which is frustrating.
With someone with less ability but a better attitude, always, in a sense, overachieve.
Absolutely, which is great.
You know, so it's
thank you. So people can see you on the stand Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or 2:00 on Sunday the 17th at Salon Seminars. All the information is on salonshow.co.uk. Obviously, they can win you on Facebook, so I would suggest anyone goes over and have a look at that. I'm dying to see who wins. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I'm excited to see the seminar, and also in the new format, because I do genuinely think this year is the year where people want that interaction and to just get useful stuff that they can take back into their business and use from the off, and to improve their skills and also give confidence, which is sometimes what people need. They've got the skills, they just need the confidence and the belief that they can do it themselves. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Hayes.
My pleasure.
And
look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, definitely. I will see you very soon.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.